There was a man in my town who everyone knew, but no one really understood. His name was Samuel. He worked at the post office, sorting letters and packages, day after day, year after year. He wore the same faded jacket every winter, the same worn-out shoes every summer. People thought he was just poor, but that wasn't the truth. Samuel wasn't poor. He was afraid. Every Friday, after work, he would go straight to the bank. He would deposit his paycheck, keep only enough for rice and vegetables, and walk home. He never ate at restaurants, never bought new clothes unless the old ones were completely torn, never took a day off to rest or enjoy himself. He just worked and saved, worked and saved. His coworkers used to invite him out for tea. He always said no. They stopped asking after a while. His neighbors tried to talk to him, but he kept conversations short. He seemed like a man carrying a heavy secret, but really, he was just carrying fear. Fear of not having enough. Fear of being left with nothing. So he held on, tighter and tighter. Years passed. Samuel's hair turned gray. His back started to bend a little, but his savings account grew. He checked it every month, and every time he saw the numbers go up, he felt a small sense of relief. He thought to himself, one day this will all be worth it. One day I'll finally feel safe. But that day never came, because no matter how much he saved, the fear never left. It just grew quieter, hiding in the back of his mind, whispering, not enough, keep going, don't stop. One afternoon, something changed. Samuel was at the market buying his usual bag of rice when he saw a little girl standing near a fruit stall. She was staring at the oranges, her eyes wide and full of longing. Her mother stood beside her, counting coins in her palm, then shaking her head gently. The girl nodded and looked away. They walked off without buying anything. Samuel watched them disappear into the crowd. Something about that moment stayed with him. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the girl, about her mother's tired face, about the way they walked away so quietly, without complaint. The next morning, Samuel did something he had never done before. He went to the market early and bought a small bag of oranges. He left them outside the little girl's house with no name, no note, just the oranges. Then he walked away before anyone saw him. It was a tiny thing, almost nothing, but it felt different. For the first time in years, he didn't feel like he was losing something. He felt like he was giving something. And that feeling stayed with him longer than any number in his bank account ever did. Days later, Samuel saw an old man selling handmade baskets by the road. They were simple, woven from dry grass and thin branches. The old man looked tired, like he had been sitting there for hours without a single customer. He stopped. He didn't need a basket, but he bought one anyway. He took it home and stared at it for a long time. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't expensive, but someone had made it with their hands. Someone had spent time and effort hoping it would matter to someone else, and now it was his. That night, Samuel had an idea, a small one. He took a little money from his savings, something he had never done before, and bought seeds. Tomato seeds, chili seeds, spinach seeds. He planted them in old cans and pots behind his house. He watered them every morning before work. At first, nothing happened. Just dirt, just waiting. But he kept going, and slowly, green shoots began to appear, tiny leaves pushing through the soil. He felt something stir inside him, something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Hope. The plants grew, not quickly, but steadily. After a few weeks, he had vegetables. Not a lot, but enough. He ate some, he gave some to his neighbors, he even sold a little at the corner near his house. And with that small amount of money, he bought more seeds, and the cycle continued. Samuel's backyard began to change. What was once empty and dry became green and alive. People started noticing. A few neighbors asked him for advice. He helped them start their own small gardens. Slowly, something that had been silent and still for so long started to move. He wasn't rich. His life didn't change overnight, but something inside him had shifted. He realized that all those years he thought he was protecting his future by holding on, but really, he was just standing still. He was saving, but nothing was growing. Not his life, not his heart, not even his sense of safety. Money, he learned, is not meant to sit. It's meant to move. It's meant to create something, even if that something is small. Even if it's just a handful of seeds or a bag of oranges for a stranger. Because when money moves, life moves. And when life moves, you stop being afraid. Samuel still saved, but now he also spent. Not carelessly, not foolishly, but with purpose. He bought things that could grow. He helped people who needed it. He invested in small tools, better seeds, a few chickens that laid eggs, and slowly his life became fuller, not because he had more money, but because he stopped being its prisoner. One evening, Samuel sat outside his little house, watching the sun go down. His neighbor's children were playing nearby. His small garden was buzzing with life. He thought about all the years he spent guarding his money like it was the only thing that mattered. And he realized something simple, something true. Safety doesn't come from holding on. It comes from letting go at the right time, from trusting that what you give will come back to you, not always in the same form, but in ways that matter more. Samuel learned that a life spent only saving is a life half-lived. The real treasure isn't what you keep locked away, it's what you allow to grow. If this story touched something in you, stay with us. There are more stories like this waiting for you here.